Hey man, welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson, aka Uncle Tex, aka Professor Tex. Man, I was messing around the other day, a couple of days ago, and I was on Instagram, messing around on Instagram and stuff like that, just seeing what's hot. What I say what's hot, what's going on or whatever, and whatnot. We all know what's been really hot on the scene of that. I ain't gonna even talk about that. That ain't my lane. I could care less. Don't even think about it for real. So I was on the pivot. Shannon, what's my man name? Shannon Crowder, the pivot, whatever. I'm athlete, Chad Ojo Cinco and Fred Taylor and them guys like that, and keeping it real or whatever for the most part. What they do in their podcast. So then I ran across something he said that was interesting to me.
Russell and Sierra.
Yeah, it is right
Russell
there.
had that bread. Sierra gonna be with him. Russell Square.
Russell
Square. Sierra had she has a good situation, but you gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson.
The thing is,
I think that's what
you don't leave Future and get Russell Wilson. It's a type. Everybody got a type.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody has a type. You gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson? He's so goddamn square, and I love him on the field. He's a square. He's a king square.
Shannon, you go from this level of toxicity, you just want something stable. You want the guy that was sitting with that girl with that big old mouth at the draft that was laughing, and you knew she deserved to be with him.
Goofball?
Yeah, you want that guy.
You want to get with goofballs.
Hold up.
And see, that bothered me. That bothered me. And I'm going to tell you why that bothered me for. That bothered me simply because you had, this is another brother attacking another brother. Well, I love him on the field, so obviously he don't really mess with cats like him off the field. Right? Now, Crowder, played 5-6 years in the NFL. His father played for 3 or 4 years or whatever in the NFL. Got drafted back in '74, I believe. I think Crowder got Channing, whatever his name is, got drafted back in '05. A job like remember him and whatnot. Decent, solid for the most part, but he only played 5 or 6 years in the league, which is more than I played, obviously. But this is the thing. Let's do this. And this is why I'm trying to get my stuff together so that I can start bringing this stuff to you so I can show y'all this type of stuff. First and foremost, Russell Wilson, or Danger Russ, as he calls himself on his, whether it's his Instagram page or whether it's on his, what's that thing called? The other one. I can't remember the damn name of the damn Twitter or whatever. And this is the guy who's the fastest to 100 wins in his career as an NFL quarterback. 9-time Pro Bowler. Second team All-Pro one time. Several times up for possibly going to be, the MVP of the league. Been to 2 Super Bowls, 1 Super Bowl, and I tell you guys all the time, I always say, I'm like, should have had 2 or 3. 2020 Walter Payton Award winner. As a career, 65% completion percentage. He's 104, 53-1 as a record. 37,000 yards, 37,059 yards, 292 touchdowns, and only 87 picks. And see, this is the thing that bothers me. What bothers me about this whole thing with this guy said, when you come up like I came up, and coming up, you'll have where the pimps back in the day, Don Juan and all them guys, sit up there and would say, yeah, well, he's this cat. One of the main things was saying, well, he's an L7. He's a square. That's the thing, they say he's a square. I'm like, how is he a square? That's all I'm trying to figure out. What is it that makes Russell Wilson a square? What's funny about that is that I heard, because I guess he had a Nike shoe out or whatever, something like that, sneaker out. Still got one out, I guess, a couple of years ago. And Slim Thug, rapper from out of Houston, said, yeah, dude's corny and this, that, and the other. And all this other kind of stuff. Dude's corny. I'm just like, how is he corny? What is he doing that makes him corny? What is he doing that makes him an L7? You know what I'm saying? Makes him a square. Now, if you walk the road like I walk, and if a brother's on his square, well, we all know what that means for those who know about that lingo, if he's on his square. Right? So, he's a square because he got up with the singer, what's the broad's name? Sierra. Right? He's been married to her since 2016. And he helped raise the kid that she had come into play. And they've had 2 kids since then together. And he, this rapper, what's his name? Future, right? Now, this cat got he has 7 kids by 7 different women. And Sierra so happened to be one of them. And you call him, you say you will respect him on the field. So which means you don't respect him off the field. Because you didn't say you respected him on the field. Off the field, I should say. Which I find, so how is he an L7? How is he a square? What makes him a square? I'm trying to figure this out. He doesn't have any tattoos on his body, which is nothing wrong with tattoos. I'm tatted. But at the time, if we go back to the 70s, 80s, and even to mid-90s, so to speak, I remember when Dennis Rodman didn't have a tattoo on his body. I remember when Allen Iverson didn't have a tattoo. But now everybody's tatted, right? That was something that we kind of didn't mess around with. So here you got these guys talking about him. And I just find that interesting that somebody, I mean, his career compared to Channing Crowder's career, it 5 or 6 years in the league, it ain't even close. But I'm trying to figure out. I say, for those, and leave the comments down below. Do you see white boys getting down like this? Talking about another player and call him a square. You call him a square because, well, if he didn't have bread, he wouldn't. Well, that's with a ton of players. Shit, I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with about with Russell Wilson and the whole thing with Sierra. Insofar as his contract, if he didn't have any money, he wouldn't have. Don't matter. I say, good-looking kid. He's done his thing in the league. He will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, whether you like it or not. And the funny part about all that is that you're talking about this guy. He's a square because what, he takes care of 3 kids. He takes care of that other kid, Future's child, like he's his own child. Which, like I said, once upon a time that was all good. But nowadays it seems like it's a joke. But he's a square based upon what? Because to my knowledge about Shannon Gray, he's married, got a couple of kids or whatever the case may be. I'm not all that familiar with the brother's situation. But it's like, how do you sit up there and call him these particular type of names and you clowning him and Ryan Clark, more or less. And I'm like, dude, from what I know about marriage, and I do know a little something about marriage because I've been married. And for the most part, all men who are married with a kid are squares now that they got married. Because it's like, I've never heard anything about Wilson and the situation with him getting shot up inside of strip clubs, pop for HGH, pop for weed, pop for coke, run-ins with the law, acting a fool, like a lot of players are. And so you got this guy sitting up there saying this about him. I said, well, what makes him a square? Now, that's something that I think has been said for a while, but it was definitely always said in the whole pimp circle. He's a square, he's this, he's that. I mean, you know, because you don't dress this way, you don't do this, that, and the other. What makes Russell Wilson a square? And to my knowledge, the man takes care of everything. So how is he a square? Shannon Crowder. How is he a square? I'm trying to figure these things out because I'm like, how is this man a square based upon what? And whose definition? Even the rapper that I like from out of Houston, that's where I was born at and whatnot, a Texas kid. So it's like, how, when Slim Thug sit him and say, well, he was corny. He's corny based upon what? Because he ain't tatted up and got about 5 or 6 or 7 different baby mamas, as they call them, and whatnot. How is he a square? What makes him a square? Why is he a square? It's easy to ravel that type of shit on, but then where is that of the information or what he's done or what he hasn't done that makes him a square? And see, I don't see white boys talking like this about other white athletes. I don't see podcasts where these cats is talking like that. But yet it's talked about like this on platforms like this. What makes him a square? The man works. He's one of the best in the business. He's a future Hall of Famer. He has business endeavors. And as a father of a daughter, he'd be somebody that I would love for my daughter to sit up there and to marry. You know what I'm saying? So how is it that this guy is a square? Based upon what? If anybody's a square, it's the cat Future. They're saying, well, RC says, oh, he come from this level of toxic. Well, that says a lot about her. You messing with a joker like that. You already know he got kids before you started even dealing with him. But then you deal with him anyway and have a baby by him. Right? But this ain't, I don't talk about that type of stuff. That's for the manosphere. For them to talk about this, that the manosphere, black manosphere, whatever, MGTOW, whatever. Right? But I'm trying to figure out what makes him that of a square. We can call him a simp. We can call him all these different things. That's neither here nor there over here. Because I'm only concerned with the football. But that bothered me simply because he's called a name. He said he's a square if he didn't have his money. That's for the 95% of the ball players in any, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's hockey, whether it's baseball, football, whatever, soccer, what have you. You get the baddest bras because you got bread, right? But at the same time, it's like he's called a square because he does his responsibility, he does what he's supposed to do, and he's not in any trouble. So he's labeled a square because of that. Brothers need to do better than that, man. Y'all got to do better than that. And Shannon Crowder, your what's it called? Your career versus his career, it ain't even close. It's not even close. We talking about a Super Bowl winner, went to the Super Bowl twice. Somebody has 104-53-1 record, and you calling him a square because he takes care of his responsibility like he's supposed to, but he's a square. I'll take that. I'm a square all day. My dad is a square then. The guys that I came up growing up on watching play football and whatnot in the Jet magazines, Ebony magazines, or whatever it was, O.J. Simpson, whether it was guys like Mike Singletary, and it's a plethora of Art Monks, a plethora of guys that I know of who have families, kids, and all this type of stuff. So they're squares too. I don't understand that. And brothers got to do better than that. And I'm so sick of seeing BS like this with that of the black community, with cats saying dumb shit like that. It doesn't make any sense. Cause even with Crowder, and from what he said, I mean, it's like, well, he's married and he has a kid. He has some kids or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know the whole lot about the brother. Right? But how is it? Explain to me, how is he a square? Right? He may never see this video, but y'all share it with a joker like him, so I can ask him what you mean by he's a square. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave that in this comment section. I'm like, how is he a square, bro? He's a square because he takes care of his children. He ain't in trouble. He ain't getting popped with weed. He can get popped with weed. He can get popped with HGA. All the stereotypical type thing, because we say stereotypical. At the same time, it has to be some type of truth to that. Explain to me how he's a square. Because he ain't sleeved up. Come on, man. Cut the jokes, man. Like I said, man, you can't. In the end, you can't even hold that Joker's. You can't even hold that Joker's jockstrap, man. Let's just put it that way. You know what I'm saying? And the Dolphins ain't done nothing in eons, right? So I need to see why he's a square. How come he's a square? What has he done? Because he takes care of his family and he stays out of trouble. If that's a square, I take that all day. Because it ain't about drama in clubs, drugs, home invasions, getting shot up, and all that. And even down to some guys that he played with, and I'm not going to even call their name because y'all know what I'm going to talk about. Joker beating on his father-in-law's. I said, Joker beating on my door. I got something for him. Or Joker sitting up there getting caught by his wife cheating with another woman. And these is his teammates that he had with. But because he wasn't that, he's a square. Y'all got to do better than this, man. You know, like I tell you guys all the time, man, this ain't no, you know, there is no GOAT, there's no greatest of all time as long as time is still going on. And as I said, tell you guys all the time, numbers don't lie, get emotional. People do. I'll probably be back in a minute. All right, guys, take it easy.